Hey there, my name's Niandra. I want to talk about the state of Symmetra because I like her a lot, but I've had this feeling lately that Blizzard don't really know what they want it to be. A lot of players will say, why can't a character be niche? Not every hero needs to be viable in all situations, and yeah, I totally agree. That being said, I've been playing Overwatch since beta, and over the years I feel like Blizzard have taken a lot of characters who were niche and buffed them to be a lot more generally useful. A long time ago, damage was split into attackers and defenders and looked like this. Bar the snipers, the defender heroes were more situational, and a lot of them have changed over the years to be more general purpose. Some good examples of this would be Junkrat receiving a second mine, Mei being able to multi-freeze, and just Torbjorn as a whole. Going with the niche thing though, in Season 18 we had a double shield meta, and for the first time Symmetra actually got picked a lot because she was good against it. She got nerfed pretty quickly, and you can say it's because a bug fix left her damage too good, but you can't deny her pick rate then dropped because other characters could do her job better without the limitations, which I feel should be the focus here. So what are some of my issues with Symmetra? Well, the main one is her kit just kind of feels like a mishmash of a lot of different things, which could just be the outcome of a character who has gone through so many changes. You've got the turrets of a builder, teleporter of a support, and the ultimate of a tank. I feel like Symmetra falls under a kind of utility role, same with Sombra, which is something that worked a lot better before role lock was a thing, where we could run them in place of other slots. A part of me wonders if Blizzard thought area denial was going to be more of a defining factor when the game was released, especially with how many of the original defenders specialised in it. In fact, there were originally tooltips relating to no builders and no snipers. Then the game became more about mobility, which left characters like Sim and Torb in weird spots. A part of me feels like niche characters struggle to exist in Overwatch because people like to main heroes. Jeff once said the game wasn't intended to be played this way, that players were supposed to swap a lot. I think it's understandable that the game didn't really work out this way for a lot of us. For example, every hero has a relatively unique playstyle that people gravitate towards, plus not everyone has the time to master a wide range. Also, your ult charge gets reset upon switching heroes, which heavily punishes frequent swaps, especially in the late game. This also makes niche heroes a bit of a risky gamble in certain situations. For example, Symmetra often had a low pick rate but high win rate because she would often be ran on point A of 2CP defense, but swapped off if the point got lost. Either her team denied the enemy any ticks, or attackers won first point, she swapped off, and ended up being behind an ult charge on her new hero pick. By the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't switch heroes mid-match, but the game doesn't necessarily make it easy. When the game was first released, Symmetra was in the support category, and she was the only one there who couldn't heal. A part of me likes the idea of reworking Symmetra back into the support category with maybe a more healing focused kit. With role lock, disparity between the number of tanks, damage dealers and supports is pretty noticeable, especially with our first meta being one where meta picks felt 100 times more viable than those who weren't. I quite like the idea of taking some of those in the damage category and reworking them to fit either tank or support to help the numbers out, especially when it seems that Blizzard plan to slow down hero releases until Overwatch 2. I've definitely seen suggestions about Mei and Doomfist being made into off-tanks as well. I also feel there's a pretty big overlap with Symmetra players and general support mains like Mercy and Moira, but when you've queued for DPS you can't switch to those if you're not doing well. Going back to Symmetra's current kit, she can do a lot of damage, but it takes time to ramp up and her range is just pretty crappy. Nothing else in her kit really helps her when she's fighting up close, meaning there's a lack of survivability. In the middle of combat, it's very hard to use her turrets or teleporter because of deploy animation and the way the cooldown works. Overwatch has a lot of short range heroes, and all of them besides Sim have something they can use to disengage in a non-clunky manner, even if only briefly. Also, a lot of short range heroes have 250 health as opposed to the normal 200, and I don't know, maybe an extra 50 shields would help give Sim some edge. Basically, I would love something to help out her survivability problem and make her less dependent on a pocket. Then you have her right click, which just kind of exists, like I don't really know what to say about it. Maybe bringing back the shield pierce aspect of it could be good, if only to make it stand out more. You also have Symmetra's current ultimate, which I loved, and no doubt it's a strong ult, but Season 18's Orisa Sigma meta made me start to wonder, is it healthy for a non-tank to provide a shield like this? It's definitely not what a DPS hero normally gets as an ultimate, and at the very least, it is providing an extra layer of visual clutter. I also feel it's kind of weird for a character whose kit is good against shields to also provide one. I don't really know what changes they could make after changing her ult so many times already, but I guess a part of me kinda misses the whole one character with two ults thing. It was a really unique idea and we haven't seen it since, so maybe that could return in some form. As for turrets, I'm actually going to skip it because I feel like I can't talk about them impartially due to their frustration aspect. To throw it out there though, I've seen suggestions about changing the turrets so they heal allies instead of damaging enemies, and I think that sounds really neat. So let's move on to Symmetra's teleporter, which I love the idea of, but it just feels a bit clunky to me, and it's gone through so many changes at this point. I've been seeing suggestions for the cooldown to be halved if chosen to be destroyed by Symmetra herself, and that I really like. It would definitely give her more control. My main concern with this was making turret bombing more relentless, but they're on a cooldown of 10 seconds per turret, so I think it would work out roughly the same. In its current state, one of the safest uses is to teleport allies back from spawn, and while very useful, it's not exactly engaging and leaves you feeling empty when actually active on the battlefield. Maybe it's just me, but because of the cooldown, I find it hard to experiment and take risks with the teleporter. Like, it can be used to get people out of Graviton Surge, and that is so cool to do, but it's just not super practical to keep hold of it like that. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe returning teleporter back to a more dynamic, more flexible, less static route could help Symmetra out. I won't deny that an infinite teleporter is high utility, but maybe a temporary one makes more sense in a fast-paced game like Overwatch where the objective can't change. Plus, on the PTR, it seems that Blizzard is trying to shift tanks away from a bunker playstyle by reducing shields and buffing aspects that makes them more brawly. This means less reason to stay in one place, which is where a Symmetra teleporter currently sits. To wrap this up, judging by Blizzard's track record, we probably aren't going to see any more drastic changes to Symmetra, but I still think it's fun to theory craft. So yeah, that's all from me. I'd love to hear if you guys have any ideas or what you think of her current state, so don't be afraid to leave a comment. Thank you for watching, feel free to check out my Patreon where I do messy VOD reviews for $5, and have a nice day.